Don't you just love the Funfair? The rides, the games, the snacks? But the Funfair Luke and his daughter Shyla visit in our story today is very different to the ones that we know. I think it's this way, said Shyla's dad. Or it might be this way. Having emerged from an overgrown path, they were stood on an English country lane, surrounded by tall hedgerows, summer flowers, and overhanging branches. We're lost, aren't we, Dad? Said Shyla. No, not lost, he insisted. Just, temporarily misplaced. I'm sure we'll find the way back to the car in a moment. Let's try over there. He was pointing to a wooden stile that was almost completely covered by bramble, ivy, and tall grass. Didn't we just come that way, Dad? Pointed out Shyla. How can that be the way back? Well, it sort of looks like it might be in the right direction, he said with a confident smile on his face. Come on, let's give it a go. Getting over involved a few scratches, but working together, they soon found themselves walking along another overgrown path, leading through some dense trees. This path seemed to go on forever, and there was no sign of the car or of anywhere that they recognized. Some daughters might have got grumpy with a parent that had got them so lost, but not Shyla. She was always up for an adventure, and she knew that one way or another, her dad would get her home eventually. She was thinking just this when she saw a little thatched cottage up ahead. It looked very old, and there was a goat in the front lawn. Well, perhaps we should knock and find out where we are, suggested Shyla. No point, said the goat. There's no one here. She's gone to the fair. Unused to goats talking, Shyla and her dad stood looking dumbstruck at the animal. Keep following the path, said the goat. You'll see it. Unsure of what else to do, Shyla and her dad kept walking. They passed more cottages, some very small, some in strange shapes or with unusual windows, and one that even looked like a miniature castle built from stone. This was a village unlike any that Shyla had seen before. Up ahead, the trees were strung with colorful squares of cloth, stitched to lengths of string, and the air was filled with a delicate, beautiful music. Pinned to the trunk of a tree was a large poster that said, Fairyham Village. Fair this Saturday stools. Food, dancing, all welcome. A fair, Dad, said Shyla with excitement. Oh, can we go? Oh, I don't see why not, he replied. We're already here. It appeared that the fair had been set up on the village green, and there were different shaped tents and marquees in a rainbow of colors everywhere. What's more, there were lots of people, although there was something about them that made them very different to Shyla and her dad. They all had wings folded against their backs. Some of the wings looked like those of a dragonfly, and others like a butterfly or a moth. But they were all, without a doubt, wings poking through their clothing. Dad, whispered Shyla as she tugged on her dad's arm. Are they all, fairies? Nah, he replied. It must be a costume parade or something. Roll up, shouted a voice to their side. Test your skill, land a hoop to win a prize. The owner of the voice was a white unicorn with gray speckles down his neck and body, just like the goat. Shyla and her dad found themselves speechless. You little girl, come and have a go. But I don't have any money, said Shyla. Her dad was already rummaging in his pocket. Do you take cards? He asked hopefully. No payment required, said the unicorn. Everything's free. Do you want to play? Okay, said Shyla, stepping up. There was a ring made of rope about the size of a small plate in front of her. What do I do with it? Toss it to me and try to get it over my horn. The unicorn replied.
Oh, easy,
said Shyla with confidence and threw the hoop. It fell short, landing at the unicorn's front hooves. I'll have a go, said Shyla's dad as the unicorn hooked up the ring to return it. His throw was better, but unfortunately, he managed to bounce it off the unicorn's nose.
Oh, this is awkward,
said the unicorn.
I'm not used to anyone losing. Usually everybody wins.
It's okay,
said Shyla.
We'll try another stall.
The next stall was a coconut shy with a row of coconuts balanced on poles at the stall's rear and a pile of floppy bean bags in a basket at the front.
Care to try your skill, young lady?
asked another unicorn. This one was a creamy color with a honey-colored mane.
Oh, yes, please,
said Shyla as she collected a beanbag from the basket. She drew back her arm and threw it with all her might. And it was a good throw, too. But it cannoned between the two coconuts, touching neither of them.
Well, I'll be better at this one,
Shyla's dad said as he picked up a beanbag. Narrowing his eyes, he drew back his arm and hurled it forward. It missed as well. Oh, goodness me, said the unicorn. I'm sorry to say that you lost.
It's okay,
smiled Shyla.
Thanks for letting us have a go.
The third stall in the row was operated by a black unicorn stood behind a table. There were 3 identical upside-down cups upon it and 1 wooden ball. A young woman with long, sparkling wings down her back was about to play, so Shyla and her dad stood back to watch. The black unicorn picked up one of the cups with her teeth and placed it over the wooden ball. With the 3 cups now in a row, the unicorn began to slide the cups around, mixing up their order again and again until it was impossible to remember which cup had the ball underneath. Lifting up her head, the unicorn invited the customer to choose a cup.
That one,
said the young woman, tapping the middle cup. The unicorn knocked over the cup, and there, underneath, was the wooden ball.
We have a winner,
said the unicorn.
A fine display of skill.
From behind the table, the unicorn lifted up a silver apple and passed the prize over to the delighted woman.
Can I have a go, please?
asked Shyla. Now she'd seen it, she really wanted to win a silver apple. Oh, certainly, said the black unicorn. Again, the unicorn placed the cup over the wooden ball and began to mix the row about. Shyla was concentrating furiously, trying to keep an eye on the correct cup, even though the unicorn was amazingly fast at shuffling them. With the cups rearranged, the unicorn said, "Show me your skill."
That one,
said Shyla, tapping the left cup. Are you sure? asked the unicorn, sounding surprised.
Positive,
said Shyla. But when the cup was knocked over, there was no ball underneath. The unicorn revealed it under the right-hand cup. Naturally, Shyla was disappointed.
I'll try and win you one,
said her dad. But his luck, it turned out, was no better. Oh, I'm ever so sorry, said the unicorn. I don't know what else to say. It's all right, insisted Shyla's dad. Say, Shyla, let's go and see if we can get something to eat. To their surprise, a nearby booth was offering apple pie and custard, and like the games, it was free. So, with a bowl each, they found a small bench and tucked in. As Shyla ate, she noticed that the people sat opposite were comparing handfuls of the silver apples they had won. They were clearly having a much better day than she was.
May I sit with you?
asked a voice. Looking up, Shyla saw it was the young woman from the cups game, now also holding a bowl of pie.
Sure,
said Shyla's dad, scooting along to make some room.
Plenty of room.
And how many silver apples have you won today?
asked the woman with a smile.
Not a single one,
sighed Shyla.
I guess we're not that lucky.
Luck? repeated the woman.
Today is not about luck.
It's about skill. She studied the pair of them for a moment and realized something was amiss.
You're not from around here, are you?
She said at last.
No, answered Shyla. We sort of came by accident.
Ah, that explains it, replied the young woman.
You see, this is Fairyham, a village where fairies and other magical folk live. And the fair is about testing your magical skills. You use your magic to win a silver apple.
But I don't know how to use magic, complained Shyla. That's unfair.
Well, I suppose it is for you, said the young woman. Without magic, you're not likely to win anything.
But not likely doesn't mean that it couldn't happen, though, said Shyla. I mean, if my aim was better, I could have landed that hoop or knocked over a coconut. And I had a 1 in 3 chance of picking the right cup, so I might win something if I keep trying. The young fairy gave a flutter of her wings. Yes, I don't see why not. You just might.
Right then,
said Shyla, setting her empty bowl down. Come on, Dad, we've got to get a silver apple to win. They spent the next hour going from stall to stall, playing all manner of games. Throwing, tossing, selecting, lifting, ordering, guessing. They even used a small bow and arrow at one point. But each time, they didn't win. Oh, it's getting a bit late now, said her dad, staring nervously at his watch. We'd better get going or we won't find our way back.
Oh, just one more try, Dad, please,
begged Shyla. Okay, all right, one more, he agreed. They were outside the largest marquee so far, where a pure white unicorn stood tall at the entrance.
Do you wish to test your skill?
Asked the unicorn. Inside is the most difficult of all the games on offer today.
I can't do any worse,
said Shyla with a shrug of her shoulders. And so they went inside. Nobody has been successful here today, said the unicorn, showing them an enormous haystack piled in the marquee center. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If either of you can find the needle hidden within the haystack, I'll not only give you a silver apple, but I'll grant you a wish as well.
Okay,
said Shyla with a big smile. You're on! The haystack was twice her height, and there was hay scattered all over the floor where people had searched unsuccessfully. Perhaps we should just get going, said her dad. Oh, I don't think we're going to find anything in all of that. But Shyla was determined. This was her last chance. She stepped forward, plunged her arm into the haystack up to her shoulder, and grabbed a handful of hay. She pulled it free, opened her hand, and there, lying in her palm, was a shiny silver needle.
I found it!
She screamed, jumping up and down.
I found it!
Well, I never, said the unicorn. That was lucky. And true to her word, she gave Shyla a silver apple. It was beautiful. And I promised you a wish, the unicorn said. You may have anything you want. What do you think, Shyla? Asked her dad. We could be rich. Or how about able to fly through the air or swim like a mermaid?
There's only one thing I really want right now,
said Shyla.
I want to be able to find the car so we can go home.
Yeah, nodded her dad. That's probably the wisest thing to do. And so the unicorn granted Shyla's wish. They looked for the village of Fairyham the following weekend, but they didn't find it. However, every time Shyla looked at her silver apple, she knows it's out there somewhere. And one day, she hopes to visit that magical fair again. The end.
So that you don't miss a single episode, just click that subscribe button.